Okay, so guys, today what we are going to be discuss about this the basic program structure. Mainly, we have to be discuss about the pointers. Okay, so we people are become a we have to be write a code. Okay, so first of all, we need to be understand. Okay, so for example, if you are going to be write any program for your microcontroller, so you need to be understand the things. Okay, so we'll start from the scratch itself. Some people have been joined now. Okay, so I'm going to be tell you, Prashant, we already selling that STM32 F411RE microcontroller board along with kit. The complete kit you will get some sensors and all. I'm going to ask to my team whether it is there or not because a separate board at the same time we have been sold the complete kit of STM32 with some other components also we have been sold. If it is available there, I'm definitely provide the link for you. Okay. You can provide your phone number, so my team will be provided the link. Okay. So, guys, today what we are going to be discuss about this in embedded C, we will especially discuss about the pointers, fundamentals. Okay, this is the pointer fundamental. So, based on this, we are going to be practice more things. First of all, we have to be discuss about in this today's live the basics of pointers. So, in upcoming videos and all, we are going to be discuss about the pointer arithmetic, arrays of pointers, function pointers, and dynamic everything. Okay, because in embedded C, so very important thing. Okay, so if you are going to be write a code for that, so very important thing is you want to you want the you want to know about the pointer. Okay, so that is the very important fundamental things. Okay, so you must be understand. Okay, so for that we are going to be discuss about this concept fast. Okay, so first of all, we will discuss about the basics of pointer in this today's class, and upcoming class we will discuss about the arithmetic functions and all we are going to discuss. Okay. So first of all, what is pointer? So why we need to study the pointer? Okay. So this is we are going to be learn. So first of all, what is pointer, guys? So everyone, we know this concept. What is pointer? If you are new to this, you will learn this concept on here detail. Okay. So a pointer is a variable that stores the memory address of another variable. That means the pointer is one of the variable only. So you don't think about pointers address like that. No. So it's just a variable. Okay, just a variable. So you just use whatever the thing, okay, as a pointer. Okay, so here you can able to see that one. I'm going to be use one variable, so I'm going to be tell one example for you. So first of all, a pointer is a variable that stores the memory address of the another variable. Okay, we will go with an example. Okay, here I'm going to be declare one variable that is integer of. Give me a minute. I'm going to be enlarge the size. Okay, here I'm going to be declare int of a is equals to 10. So we will simply write this line on your code. So what it means, you just store the 10 variable on the 10 value on the a variable. So this is what you are trying to do. So what you are going to be do, this is the a variable, and inside that you are storing that 10. So when you're going to be store this, so internally, so inside the memory, your system, your microcontroller, so whatever you might be using, that is actually going to be stored. The A is one of the variables. So it is going to be stored in some other memory location. So that is what it is actually going to be do. So for example, F. So this is the memory address of a variable. So when you're going to be initializing, when you're going to be declaring, when you're going to be assigning one data on any variable, what it is actually going to be do. So how the a variable storing this 10, So it is actually storing inside the memory. So whatever the memory, so it is going to be stored in some other memory. So each which is holding a different memory address. Okay, so A as located on this address. If you want to find it out, the address of this A variable, you have to be use the parameter called ampersand. Okay, when you're using a ampersand of A, you will get the address of A variable. Okay, simply if you just A is equals to 10, if you just ask what is A, if you're going to print what is A, you just tell the value called as a 10. If you just print the value called as an ampersand of A, it is going to be print the address of A variable which was stored there. Okay, this is the point. But what is meant by point? We are not discussing about the pointer is storing which is the variable that stores the memory address of another variable. That is here, this is the address of A. Okay, so when you are trying to store this address to the another variable, that is called as a pointer. So the pointer which always mentioned with this dereferencing, if you are going to be declare anything. Okay, so what it is actually mean, this is normal value. Okay, value when you are going to be assigned, you just use the normal one, data type and variable and value. Okay, if you want to store the address of this variable, because why we have been mentioned the address of another variable, yes, A is another variable, so another variable address has been stored on this pointer. Okay, so here you can use whatever the variable p, ptr or whatever kind. So the very important parameter is dereferencing, so which indicates here you are going to be declaring, here you are going to be assigning one pointer data. Okay, so this is, you don't forget this concept. Okay, yes, and then think of it like that. So the normal variables which stores the value, and the pointer variable stores the address of the normal variable. Here the same. So if you just see this, the normal A is a normal variable. This is the data type. This is the normal variable, and which is holding a normal data. Okay, but if you just see this one, this is the address which is A has been stored, right? So here the pointer has store the address of A where it has been located. So you just simply put so asterisk of P. Okay, asterisk P. So you just simply store this A. Okay, so it is going to be tell you like, so what it is present inside this, so it is going to be stored the address. Okay, so we are going to be study this one detailing. Here A is equals to 10 and A stores the 10 value ampersand of A, which is the address. So if you want to be find it out that, so I already told you, you have to use the ampersand of A, which tells you that address. Okay, so you can ask me, so ampersand of A, which is telling the address. I don't confuse it. Ampersand of A, which is telling the address. If you want to store this, definitely you are going to be use the pointer. Okay, what you are going to be do? You have to be use the pointer. Okay, so for example, if you're using like that, so P is equals to ampersand of A. Okay, so we'll clearly discuss about what is asterisk of P, what is normal P you have been mentioned. What is the difference between these two? We are going to be discuss about this detail. So what you are going to be understand on here, it is normal variable stores the normal data. Your pointer variable stores the address, hexadecimal address. Okay, if you're using a ampersand, it is telling it helps to be get to the address. Okay, get to the address. If you're using a dereferencing, it helps to store the address of the any variables. Okay, so this is the overview. Okay, overview of this what we are being what is pointer address. Okay, and now we are going to be discuss about how to declare a one pointer. Okay, how you are going to be declare one pointer, that is the another concept we are going to be discuss. So the pointer going to be declared in the data type and pointer name. Okay, if you are going to be declare one pointer means, first of all you have to write what data type it is. So it might be character data type, it might be integer data type, It might be or a float data type. Okay, so double, so kind of things is there. Okay, here what it is actually mentioned, whether it is a pointer data type. So what you are trying to be mentioned. So here I'm just putting up a PTR, all are pointer. Okay, all are pointers. Simply I'm just doing 1, 2, 3. Okay, these are the pointer variables I just given. So why we need to be use this data type on here? It is, if you ask this question, this data type, which is simply telling what type of data address you are going to be stored. Okay, for example, if you want to be stored like character of C is equals to A. Okay, if you want to be stored, if you want to be store the address of this character. See, okay, so this A is one of the character which is stored in the C. C is normal variable. Okay, C is that is a normal variable. So the C is A is located on the C. Okay, so if you want to be store the address of C has been located, for example, it is 1F1F. Okay, so you want to be store this address. What you're going to be use? You're going to be use the character pointer. Okay. So another case, if you are using an integer data type, int A is equals to 15. So your your 15 is stored in this A variable. Okay. And it is definitely having some address. Okay. CF is the address. So when your data is integer type, you have to be declare it is an integer pointer. Okay, so same thing for flow. So what type of data address you are going to be stored? Okay, if you're trying to store the character type of data, you are going to be use the character pointer, integer pointer, float pointer. So it is going what type of data you are going to be stored. Based on that, the pointer you are going to be use on here. Okay, it is going to be varies. Okay. Here you just see this one. Yeah. Here we have been used the integer to pointer. Pointer to integer, and it is a pointer to float, pointer to character. We all has been pointing this type of data address I'm going to be stored. Okay. These type of thing I'm going to be stored. So which we have been mentioning. Okay. So got clear up to this guy. So you just post clear message on the chat box. And then we are going to be study about initializing a point. Okay, so previously it is normal declaration. So how you are going to be declare one pointer? If you want to be declare, normally int A is equals to 10, float C is equals to 15.5. So likewise you are going to be do. So that is all a declaration. Okay, so now we are going to be study about that all the declaration. Now we are going to be study about the initializing a pointer. So what is meant by initializing a pointer is assigning the address of a variable to the pointer using ampersand operator. Okay, if you just see this one, here you just simply assigning the pointer. Okay, so I already told you this one. We will clearly discuss about this concept on here. Okay, so assigning a pointer means you are just assigning the value of address. Okay, for example, you have been declared int A is equals to 200. That is the value of any store. Okay, but if you want to be assigning the address, so here we have been mentioning. Here we are initializing a pointer means so assigning the address of variable to the pointer using ampersand. Okay, so here I already tell you that this ampersand which help you to get the address of this variable. If you want to be get the address of this A variable, you have to use the ampersand. So simply you have to be use ampersand of A, which means where this A has been stored. Okay, this is the value called as in 200. So it is stored in this A variable. So address is 1F. Okay, so if you're just using this ampersand, you will get what? you will get the address of this A variable has been stored. Okay, this is the thing. And this is clear. Okay, so you will get clear. So simply what you're going to be do is you have declared one pointer already. Okay, you have been declared one pointer. First of all, A is equals to 10, and you have been declared PTR. Okay, so this is your pointer declaration also you have been done. Okay, you have been declared one pointer. Now you're just using PTR is equals to ampersand of A, which means if you are not using a dereferencing, okay, in this case, we are not going to be using a dereferencing. We are simply doing like ampersand of A, you are trying to store in this pointer. That means the address has been stored inside this pointer. Okay, so it is holding this one, right? So you can clearly get this one. So how it is actually going to be a present like this. So this is your A variable. Okay, inside that you have been stored the value called as intel. Okay, and which is having in the address of 1FF. Okay, and if you want to be store this address of the same variable, simply you are going to be using another variable called as an PTR, which is having address of 1000. Okay, here just consider 1000 is the address. Okay, 1000 is the address, and PTR also having address. Okay, it is also having some other address. Okay, because it is also one of the variable, pointer variable, right? So what it means, it is a variable. So when you're going to be using ampersand, so it is going to be telling that where the address has been. So it just having a address. Okay, it is just telling what is the address of this PTR value. Okay, and sorry guys, here I've been used the different parameters. So I'm just using 1000. Okay, so this 1000 going to be stored in this pointer, and the address of this pointer is 2000. Okay, so this is the normal thing. Yeah, just P which is stores the address and ampersand of P which is storing the values. So these two are different. In this case, in this case, if you are using one pointer, okay, here I'm just tell you again. If you are not clear this point, so this is the A variable. I'm going to be stored 10. Okay. So the address which is stored, the store is called as 1000. Okay. We don't want to confuse. Simply 1000 will keep the name. And if you want to be stored the address, okay, address of this A variable, you are going to use another variable that is called as a pointer. Okay. So your address going to be stored inside this pointer. Okay, so the pointer also is having some address. So this is the address for A variable and this is the address for pointer variable. You are storing the address to the another variable called as in pointer. Okay, so in this scenario, how you are going to be initializing one pointer, declare one pointer, simply PTR. Okay, so before that you have to be write what value you are going to be stored. Okay, in this case, simply if you are using a PTR is equals to ampersand of A means you are just storing the address. Okay, you are just storing the address. What the address it is? Ampersand of A means this address. Okay, so this address you are trying to store in this PTR. So it has been stored. It has been stored. Okay, so this is the first thing. Okay, for example, if you are using a dereferencing. Okay. For initialization purpose, you're definitely using dereferencing, guys. When you're going to be accessing the data, here, if you're using a dereferencing is equals to ampersand of it, what it means is this dereferencing, which is always indicate what this pointer. So if it pointer, which is definitely having some address, okay, it is helps to fetch the data which is present inside this address. So PTR, we know it is 1000. 1000 is the address. So this asterisk thousands are. So what it is actually present in this 1000? We know that PTR which is having a 1000. So it helps to fetch the data which is present inside this 1000. It is 10. Okay, so now the final value it helps to get 10. You got clear, guys? You got clear? You got clear? You just post clear message on the chat. Okay, so this is what about these two things. And now we are going to be clearly discuss about the dereferencing of pointer. Okay, so first of all, accessing the value stored at the memory access yield by the pointer. So if you want to be get the data which is stored inside the specific address, we have to be use this dereferencing. So use dereferencing operator. Here you can clearly understand this one. A is equals to 10. Okay, so you can able to see this one. Never forget this concept. Okay, so give me a minute. Give me a minute. Okay, so what you're going to be understand here it is. So this dereferencing, which is always helps to be fetch the data which is present inside the specific address. So you just simply having one value which is stored inside this variable. So you're definitely having some address. And if you're trying to store that address into this another variable, that variable it is going to be called as a pointer. Okay, yeah, simply store the address of this a variable into the another pointer. It is called as a pointer. So it is also having another way. Okay, so in this case, when you're using a normal PTR, so it is just telling the address which is stored inside this pointer. Okay, if you're using a dereferencing of PTR, what which is present inside this 1000? So 1000, this is 1000. What it is actually present inside this 1000? It is 10. So the 10 is the answer. So the dereferencing which helps to fetch the data which is present inside the address. Keep this word on your mind. It helps to fetch the data which is present inside the address. Okay, so this address and all very important in embedded system because we know this embedded system for each and every parameters, guys. So while we have to be run this write a code. Okay, so I'm just open up the thing. While we have to be write the code, we have been use the reference manual. So this all has been holding a specific address. You know this one, right? So each and everything which is holding a different address. If you just taking a RCC CR register, it is a different address which is going to be had. Okay. So even data sheet, you will get it. You will get this address at all easy. Okay, yes, you can see this one, all which is holding a different address. Even if you're using STM32 cube ID, in that each and every special function registers which having a unique address. So each address, each register which is holding a unique address, right? So this time you definitely understand the point because if you are going to be declared one AHB1, that address you are going to be declared, how you can able to declare? For example, this is the starting and ending address. I'm just considering AHB1. This is the address. Okay. For example, guys, this is not exact address. We have to be add with the base address. For example, simply just taking some any address. Okay. For example, this is the address GPIOA. I'm just add with the 30. Okay, simply I'm just taking 30. Okay, for example, this is the address. So how can I declare this one? Because you cannot declare int p is equals to this value. No, it is not acceptable. Here you're definitely using a pointer. If you are going to be declare this ampersand, I mean asterisk of, you are going to be declare any other pointer is equals to, you can declare this value. Okay, so definitely you're going to be using the address of pointer if you're going to be declared like this. Okay, like address. So like hexadecimal values at all. Okay, pointer is playing a very important thing. So that's all the thing. And finally, complete example we are going to be study right now. That means this is A is equals to 10. Okay, A is equals to 10 is one of the variable here. And in this case, you have been declared one variable. So if you want to be store the address, so here we have been declared one pointer also. Okay, pointer. This is how you are going to be declared one pointer. Asterisk of whatever the name you can give it. And if using P is equals to ampersand of A, so ampersand of A is what, guys? This is the address. So what address the A has been located? For example, 1000 means the 1000 has been stored in this P. Okay, so in this first value, you will get the 10. 10 is the value. So ampersand of A means, so what is the address of A? It is 1000. Okay, and what is the value of P? So P, normal P, which is holding an ampersand of address. Okay, you know the flow. Okay, A is equals to 10. So the 10 is stored in this address. So another variable is P. The P is holding the address of A and which is stored in this location of 2000. So now if you want to be store the, what is the value of P? What the value which is present inside this P? 1000. So again the value is 1000. And finally, your dereferencing. So I already told you that what is meant by dereferencing? Dereferencing of P means, so what is this is the dereferencing. What is present inside this P? It is 1000. So dereferencing of 1000 means what is present inside this 1000? So inside this 1000, the 10 is present. So the value is 10. If you just see the output, yeah, so it is telling like, so your 10 is the value. A is address. P holds address. And finally, this which is having a 10. So this just the example address, guys. Okay. Yes, value at the address. Exactly, guys. Okay. I hope you are clear about this one. Okay. So now we will see the returning a pointer and basics. Okay, so we are going to be study this when now it is a basic fundamental thing. Okay, so first of all, a function. What is actually we are going to be studying is returning a pointer. So what type of data? Okay, the pointer can be returned. Okay, this is another important thing. A function can return a pointer just like a it returns an integer or float. Okay, so like this. This means if you are calling this function, okay, you are just calling this integer type of function. You are just calling this character type of function, float type of function, whatever the function is. Okay, in this case, that called function as going to be written. How the flow will be, guys? So for example, int of function you have been called. So when it is called, it just go to the function definition. Okay, function definition. This time at end, it is going to be return the data. Okay, the return going to be come to this here. Again, it is going to be written here. So what we are going to learn is what type of data is possible to return in the pointer. Here you need to be understand. Here we are going to be completely study about the pointers. So pointer type of functions and data variables and everything. Okay. So what type of data pointers? What type of pointers it is going to be written? In this first scenario, returning address of a local variable is not possible. Okay. Here in this case, you are just called on function. First thing is integer function has been called here. Okay, you just simply call this function. Okay, so this function has been called and it is going to be processing it. Okay, the function has been defined here. So A is equals to 10 and finally the A value have been got and the address of A need to be written. return to the normal main function. Okay, so in this time, it is not going to be written. Return address going to be destroyed here because it is a local variable. So the local variables, it is not going to be written. Okay, it is hazardous. Okay, it is causing a danger. Okay, so in this case, it is not going to be possible. So y means exists only inside the function because this variable which is only present inside the scope, inside this scope only. So it is destroyed even here because of this local variable. It is not going to be returned the address. It is destroying here. Okay, and once the function ends, the memory going to be destroyed. So once it completed this function, it is completely going to be destroyed. Returning address, it is dangling pointer, never return the local variable. So you're going to be keep this one on your mind. So the local variables returning address is not possible, not allowed. Okay. And then returning address of static variable is available. Is possible or not if you ask this question? Yes, it is possible. Okay, because the static which is like a lifetime validity, it is not going to be changed because static means it's just storing the previous data. Okay, it's just storing the previous one continuously. Okay, so here what is actually happened, this is the one of the pointer you have been declared. Inside this, you just call this function, you just go to this function, and here the type of value have been used to the static variable. So the keyword you should be using if you are using a static variable, static int of a is equals to 10. When you want to be return the address of a, it is possible. Okay, it just return the address of a, that is some address has been written. Okay, address has been returned and it just print the address. Okay, yeah, Ash, you can tell me. So if you want to tell me anything else, you can tell me, Ash. Okay. So now we will proceed it. Okay, so the static is possible, guys. Okay, then we are going to be see the what about the array and memory malloc kind of thing, because static is different and this is continuously going to be changing. So what about the malloc? Okay, so what about the so malloc means it is continuously going to be changed. It is possible. Yes, it is also going to be possible. So when you're going to be calling one function, so if you want to be return the pointer, so it is also going to be get possible on here. Okay. So here you just simply telling the size of the integer type. Okay, just multiply with this y, and finally you're just returning this one. So it is going to be returning. Okay, and what about this called by passed by caller? So it is also going to be possible. So the call by uh, address. Okay, so here if you are trying to pass the address, okay, it is definitely affect the value on here. Okay, if we know that call by value and call by reference. So if you are using a call by, if you are just simply passing a value of a, when it is returning, it is not going to be affecting. So for that, we just simply declared one pointer and I'm just passing a function. The parameter, just pass the address of the parameter. So address of a. Okay, so the 10 is the value and address means 1000. Okay, I'm just passing 1000. Okay, so I'm just passing 1000. So what it is actually doing it, so it just holding the address. So int p, which is holding the address and simply change the address, simply change the data which is present inside this. Okay, so what we are going to be doing, so simply we change the data of a to 100. Okay, so then 100 is going to be printed on here. Okay, so simply it is previously just having a passing address that is 1000. So what we are going to be doing, so 1000 is the address. So when you are going to be doing a asterisk of p, so asterisk of 10, So which is telling what is inside this 1000. Inside this 1000, previously 10, now you are going to be changed to 100. So it was changed here. Okay, got clear, guys? Got clear? If you got clear, you just post clear message of the chat box. And finally, returning pointer to the global variable is available on. Yes, it is also available. It is because of this local variable. If local variable is not available, definitely global variable is available. Okay. So this is what the today fundamental things about the pointer.